right, of course. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are. I'm glad that you're watching Afrique 24-hour TV and welcome to our open political talk show. Of course, this is a show that gives you an opportunity to interact with the political happenings in the country. And as Afrique, as we connect you with African stories, we'll always give you updates on what is taking place across the world. It's another wonderful week, another wonderful day, or another wonderful night that we meet here to update you and also to initiate a talk show that is going to enable you interact with what has happened within the country. So, of course, this is a free 24-hour TV. So, if you're joining me for the first time, kindly hit the subscribing or the subscription button, subscribe, turn on the notification button, and invite friends and relatives so that they can also be able to subscribe. So that is the only way that you can help or you can support this channel. I'm your host today, Leo Nyabaya, and of course, I'm going to be joined by some other panelists and co-hosts as we are looking into what is making stories this another week. And today being a Monday, the long weekend already been winded up. A lot have happened, and maybe to begin with, it's a sad in this country today that we've lost so many people in accident. And my condolences to the families who've lost their friends and relatives, with the latest being the comrades of Kenyatta University. So we really pray for our roads to be safe. A lot is happening on the roads. Today, only almost 20 people lost their lives in the road accidents that happened in different parts of the country, with the latest being the students of Kenyatta University. Condolence to the bereaved families, and of course, quick recovery to the ones who've been injured. We pray that they get well soon. And we also pray that something be done, or maybe we pray that our roads be safe naturally. And of course, we're also going to look at the safety of our roads. Is one of the things that we're going to discuss. And uh, before even that, this week a lot has also happened. We've lost some prominent people or some famous people in this country. If I start with the famous, the controversial TikToker Ran Chira, who also lost his life through an accident. Condolence to the family too. We also lost one of the veteran journalist, that is Rita Tinina. Of course, condolence to the family. We really sorry, and we pray that may the Lord or the good Lord strengthen them at this particular time. Back to the political scene, we've had a long week in politics. The weekends are majorly meant for politics nowadays in Kenya. In the olden days, the weekends, people will go to church and go to worship places, and maybe people will discuss things that happened, or like visiting the families. But nowadays, most of our weekends are being defined by political activities. These are the days that the politicians meet in funerals, they abuse each other. Some sell their policies in funerals, some go to inform the villagers what they managed to do, because these guys are sent by you people, so they are your representatives. So they come back home, they try to explain to you what they managed to do. So we've had a weekend of political heckling. We've had a weekend of name calling, and we've also had a long weekend just full of politics. You've had, like, when the president visited Bomet, president visited Kericho, some leaders or some fans or some followers of some specific leaders had to wash or clean their dirty linen. And in Kericho, of course, you saw the people heckling before the president, something that didn't get well with the deputy president, who had to call it out and tell the people that that is bad manners and it needs to stop. And he really lectured people to ensure that they give respect to the heads of state. Even if they're having some local differences, they should get better ways of solving those differences rather than bringing it into a public domain. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on board this vehicle. We are going to talk of politics. If you look at the title, we are talking of the executive agreeing with judiciary to implement the affordable housing bill. This one happened. This one was said or was echoed by the president when he visited Kericho, and he told Kenyans that relax. I'm going to sign the affordable bill into law. And don't worry, nothing is going to happen. People are worried because these are bills that had already been, they started implementing it only for courts to stop it. So people are still worried. So you tell them, no, don't be worried. I've already agreed with the judiciary that we have to implement it. When they met with Martha Koome, I think these are some of the agreements. So you're going to look into that, the implications if it will be signed, how well people will have to receive it. And apart from that, for those people who like Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and all those kind of things, some good news that the president today announced that they've agreed with the Facebook that come June this year, the content creators, they'll have their content being monetized. So if you like producing videos in Facebook, ensure that you do some quality video because they're now going to be monetized. So you'll now be earning through your videos. Hata ukichukua video while eating, cooking, doing, just do that thing that you do best. Of course, you're also going to look into that story among other things that are happening within the country. The doctor strike entered day 5. There's an issue with NHIF whereby right now, if you go, you have to pay cash, you have to pay upfront because the NHIF department have delayed in releasing the funds. So, of course, welcome on board. I can see Goodyear. If you're joining me now, make sure that you like the video and you also put your comment on the comment section there so that we can be able to know whether you are really following or where you're following, and your name, your comments, and maybe your views. And if you also want to join the studio, I've already shared the link on the comment section. You can use the link to join the studio. With me here is Boniface Kimazi. I know you've also had a good weekend. It's another new week. I can see he's having some bright face over there, an indication that things are getting on well. So, Boniface, I'll just welcome you to say hi to the viewers and welcome them to this show so that as we move on, they stand a better chance to contribute to some of the discussions that we're going to initiate. Karibu sana, Boni.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Leo from Nairobi, Kenya. We want to appreciate our followers for making sure that every day they always catch up with our political show, and welcome them wherever they are tuning, whether in Kenya, either you are following us from all parts of the world, that is global. Make sure that you always tune, and we always educate you so that you can be updated when it comes to political matters, and also make sure that here in Africa we give you a platform so that you can share. Here we give you a platform so that you can give ideas and opinions that can help fellow Kenyan. And also we pioneer this Africa 24 as we capture all the hearts of Kenya and all parts of the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. It's good seeing you today. And maybe I know there's a lot of things that we want to talk about. There are a lot of things that even our viewers are expecting to get from us. Of course, it's a new week. We have to wrap up some political happenings, that which happened over the weekend. As we begin the new week, as we also give direction into what our viewers should expect uh, coming or in this week. So I just want to begin with a small clip of our deputy president showing how he was angry. Actually, this one is what happened the entire weekend when the president visited some parts in Rift Valley or his backyard, his Tarakaniti, or a place where he's considered to be the kingpin. Yes, it is true people are not heckling the president, but they showed some bad manners, heckling in the presence of the president. That one is a sign that people don't fear the presidency. People don't give respect. You imagine a principal in a school setup. In the presence of a principal, students heckle their prefect or student heckle their class teacher or subject teacher. it can't happen in the presence of principle. When you do it, it shows that you lack respect to the principle, because even there are some things that are domestic, some things that are maybe some village issues. You need to wait for the visitor to go, then you sort them out. So it happened that people showed some disrespect, and the cabinet secretary of interior, that is Kithure Kindiki, have ordered that those guys who heckled the president should be arrested and charged. So the question that the legal experts are asking, yeah, okay, you'll arrest them, but which what are you going to charge them with? Do we have an offense called heckling? That's the question that people are asking. Okay, Kindiki, you said they arrest those boys or those men or those youths who heckled the president and charge them. Where are you going to charge them? With which crime? So that's the question that people are asking. So before we look into that, people are being intolerant and showing some disrespect to elected leaders. And in fact, head of state is not just an elected leader, but this is somebody who is the custodian of this country, the person who represents us in this country. So I want to play this video. Then we'll try to weigh in. When did we reach at this point? Imagine Raila going back to Siaya or going back to Homa Bay or to Kisumu, then people start heckling in his presence. Which kind of communication are people trying to give? Does they mean reach a point whereby they don't care? They have nothing to lose? So just listen to this. I'll play it.
Mingi sana na si ujinga. Mimi ni mtu yuko msimamo. Mimi na watu huko kwa mlima tuliamua kwa kauli moja kumuunga rais wetu mkono, kwa sababu tuliona ako na mpango, ako na maono na
Sorry guys. Sorry for that breakdown. I'm really sorry. I'll try to get it back. These things to do with the internet. These things are beyond our control. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they fail. But that was the deputy president who was just warning. He was just warning the people who are heckling at the president. I'll be able to get you that. later, not later, but I'm just working on it so that you can be able. Boniface, thank you for.
Mimi nimeona aibu sana tukiwa Bomet. Rais anachukua dakika 30 ugomvi na siasa na vita kuliko aeleze ile kazi mulete. Take the presidency for granted. Mi naona mnaanza kuchezea hiki. Na msichezee. Kama rais amekuja kwa county nyumbani na ni rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, amekuja kuzidua mipango ya maendeleo, kupanga maendeleo. Mnatoa rais kwa mamlaka yake na cheo chake, kazi yake ni kuzuia vita. Wewe hapana, piga kelele, wewe nyamaza, mnaulizana nini? Sasa hiyo ndio tunafanya. Watu ya Bonde la Ufa, what has happened to you people? Mumesahau mahali tulitoka? Mumesahau? Huyu William Ruto, rais wetu, alikuwa kwa shida, alitoka pahali ngumu sana. Itakuwaje watu ya nyumbani ndio wanafanya aibu mbele ya rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya? Kama Wakenya wengine wote wamenyamaza, bahali anaenda iko heshima. Yeye amekuja nyumbani, amekuja Bomet, amekuja Kericho, amekuja Nandi. Watu ya nyumbani wale wanatakiwa kumtafutia heshima katika Jamhuri ya Kenya na kimataifa. Rais ameheshimika Afrika nzima, ameheshimika duniani. Mwezi wa Mei amealikwa na rais wa Amerika kufanya state visit to the United States of America. The rais amepata heshima internationally and the whole country. Pahali ya kukosewa heshima, pahali ya aibu ni nyumbani. What is wrong with you, my people? Hiyo nini? Mimi nilikuwa pale jana, nimeona aibu sana. Mimi nilikuwa na rais Kiambu, watu yangu wakataka kumkosea heshima, nikawaambia wasirudie tena. Na hawajarudia. Na nikasimama nikawaambia watu ya nyumbani, Mount Kenya, huyu ni rais ya Jamhuri ya Kenya. Kama mnataka kutoa aibu, mnionyeshe mimi aibu. Lakini hapana rais wa Jamhuri. Siku tulienda naye siku nyingine huko, hakuna kalisema ngo, walinisikiza. I'm asking the people, the Kalenjin nation, tafadhali na muomba kwa heshima kubwa nikinyenyekea, tumuoneshe heshima rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Na ndio ataheshimika kwengine. Lakini hii aibu niliona jana na juzi. I am very concerned. Nao viongozi ya college nitawaita. Niwaite? Niwaite? Yes, I'll call them. Nitawaita. Now, if they don't listen, hali yenu. Iko na rais anapenda nyinyi. Iko na naibu wa rais anapenda nyinyi. Ndio wakati ya nyinyi kunyonya na kusaidika. Sasa mkilete siasa duni ya ugomvi na kupigania viti, uchaguzi uko mbali. Wewe unakomboa vijana kupiga kelele, mwingine anachukua vijana kupiga kelele. Rais amekaa pale. Ile ilimulete haongei.
Bonnie, I think you've had the deputy president there talking to the people of Rift Valley. Amewambia the president is the president of the republic and people don't need to heckle. And there's something pia amesema hapo muhimu. Muko na rais wenyu. Hii ndio wakati yenyu kunyonya serikali. So what do you take on the advice that the deputy president is giving people back in Rift Valley, telling them that they need to respect the president? You know, that is the home of the president. Meaning, if those guys don't respect the president, then people who are outside the Rift Valley might also take advantage and not respect the president.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think those people showed a lot of disrespect to the president, because heckling to the president at his hometown, home area, that shows a lot of disrespect. And I think that deputy president has the authority to roar, and you have heard how he was roaring. You know, I only know that Rigathi Gachagua is one of the deputy president who doesn't fear anything. I think you have heard him saying that he's going to call those leaders so that he can come together with them and try to tell them that this is the president of the Republic of Kenya and we have to respect him. And leaders and those people who just did that, I think that was by mistake, and they should not repeat that one, because if you equal to the president at his own ground, that shows that you are not having trust with the president. And we have been saying always that we give president time. You know, personally, I am a diehard supporter of Raila Amolo Odinga, but nowadays, after 2 to 3 weeks that have passed, I have realized that we can gain confidence with William Samoei Ruto. He has some ambitions that can transform this country, Kenya. So I think leaders should also respect and give William Samoei Ruto time, because by heckling on him, that shows that they don't respect him. And he is trying. We saw what he did today, and that one is going to benefit the youth and those who are in the content creation. So as we will just pop into that. But again, I will not advocate for the what happened to the president. That was bad thing. And Rigathi Gachagua, who is the deputy president, yes, the authority, and we have been always hearing him saying that he is there to protect the president. Either when he is going to any place, he has to make sure that the path, the way is very clear. And we know that Rigathi Gachagua is a no joke man. Of course, he will always tell you the truth, and the truth will set you free. So I think that was a bad thing that happened to the leaders and those people who did that to the president. They need to respect the president, because you cannot just wake up and earn that title of the president. You need to struggle and earn it, because we have seen a lot of leaders struggling to earn that title of president over the years, over the centuries, but they have not even earned it. So they respect him, because respect is not earned, but it is gained. Thank you.
And but only let me ask you. For example, somebody has come and this guy is saying something that you know the politicians you don't agree with. Is it wrong maybe to tell them that, oh no, what you're saying is a lie, or what you're saying we don't like it? I know that is what is called heckling. So is it, are they allowed to do that, or there are better ways they can disagree with the speaker in such kind of meetings?
Yeah, there are better ways that you can do that. You can write your grievances together and present them to the right leader who can address the president in the right way. So it is not a matter of just raising sound to the president. Put your ideas, put your grievances together according to what it has been said, even if it is the president. Bring the ideas together and make sure that you present them to the right person who can address the president in the right way and in the respect way, so that he can show that he is being respected every part of the country. So it is not a matter of just raising voice or trying to heckle to the president. Follow the right way. You have the right way to make sure that your grievances and anything that you want to say can be represented in the right way. So that was not the right way, and personally, I think leaders should respect leaders, and people, the citizens should respect the leaders, because they are the one who represent them when it comes to different matters of the country, and also that is nationally and globally. So we need to respect them, gather ideas and opinions in the
I
right way,
get you.
and
I get you,
represent
Bonnie.
them.
But there's this thing that I just have to ask you. Yeah, you had the deputy president saying that, you see, those guys who heckled the president should be arrested and charged. But most legal experts are arguing we don't have any law in Kenya that discriminates heckling. Heckling is a way of responding. When you're in a meeting, remember these politicians, they don't call us into town hall meeting whereby you can raise your hand and answer a question, or you can raise your hand and respond or ask a question. They like political gathering whereby they say Boniface Tosha, then you say, hey, nimefanya hivi, hey. So when somebody is saying nimefanya hivi and you say, hey, that is also heckling, but you are heckling positively. But when somebody is saying amefanya hivi and you say, uongo, that is heckling, but to them it is heckling negatively. Because if you are to charge people with the heckling, the people who are saying no, no, no should equally be charged with the people who are saying yes, yes, yes. That is why people are arguing that there is no law in Kenya that discriminates heckling. Heckling is a way of responding to a disorganized meeting like that. So, and the ones who've been arrested before, there is no single court that have always found them guilty. It is just a waste of time. So, do you think that these youths should be arrested, or somebody should look for them and maybe get to know their grievances and get ways of maybe responding or maybe sorting their issue?
So I think the youth had a key point that they were trying to communicate. So they were communicating it indirectly. I think a responsible person can come together with the youth and try to articulate the ideas, and so that they can bring together and try to present them to the right person. So a relevant person can come together with the youth, try to talk to them and try to listen to what they were trying to communicate. Because always, once they heckle, they have something that they are trying to drive to the president
There's
and also
something
to the
that they are
enemies.
trying to communicate, yeah?
Yeah.
Because, okay, I don't know if I'll get that video. I'll get it, and you'll find that some of them were even having the placards. They are even carrying the placards, meaning they were trying to communicate. They're trying to give some communication, and maybe they felt that they are they were not getting the attention that they needed. Just listen
Even
to it.
as we continue to hope that the settlement between the doctors and the government will be ended soon so that Kenyans can access medical services. Supremacy wars were witnessed in Bomet County today during President William Ruto's visit. The tension, which caught the president's attention, saw supporters of Bomet Governor Hilarry Barchok and Bomet Senator Hilarry engage in the heckling. President Ruto has warned against the behavior, telling Bomet residents to wait for 2027. KTN's senior political affairs reporter, Kariuki, has more.
Very good. President William Ruto started the tour at Bomet County as he continued with his development agenda across the country.
Bomet East, we have 3 projects.
Here, the president launched several projects, among them Chimarul Village Transformer Maximization Project under the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, REREC. According to REREC, it is set to benefit over 540 households.
Kwa ile mpango yako yote tumeweka, usisahau hawa vijana.
A section of leaders found themselves on the receiving end when they took to the podium. Some residents heckled the leaders, among them Bomet Governor Hilarry Barchok, who found it difficult to address the crowd. Barchok had just started speaking when heckling drowned his speech, forcing President Ruto to intervene. The president had to switch to his mother tongue, Kalenjin, to calm down the crowd.
Kulete mambo hii kwa mkutano mimi sitaki. Ose biju? Ogaso. Okwe pichokwe viongozi juu.
President Ruto has warned against the heckling behavior.
Mtulize maneno. Muwe ni watu wa kusoma barua ikiwa ndani ya bahasha. Kama kuna mtu hajafanya kazi, mngojee siku ya uchaguzi, mtamalizana na yeye.
Huyu ni rais wa jamhuri ya Kenya na ni kiongozi na ni mzee wetu. Kama iko maneno kidogo kidogo ya nyumbani, mnangoja rais akiondoka, mnatatua ile ya nyumbani. Sina kuaga namna hiyo.
Happened. I can see Goodyear is saying that is it all right for the politicians to heckle, but the public is not allowed? Goodyear, that is what is happening, because I told you what all these guys are doing here is heckling. Even the politicians there, Sazile, they're telling you tialala, and you also respond. That is heckling. All of you are heckling. So another thing that has happened, I think we can say that youths are so disparate, they are unemployed, and they're now having their frustration. They're now diverting their frustrations to the politicians, because when they went to vote, they had some high hope on these politicians. They believed that these politicians are going to solve their issues maybe in a day or overnight, but this one is not happening. So when they see the same politician over there, and this is a politician that they thought was going to solve their problem, they feel how do I say, they feel aggrieved. They feel like these politicians are the reason why they cannot be able to pay the bills, and I think this is what makes them react in anger like that. There was a certain a person who I'll get the person who was really complaining. I'll get it, and this is somebody who was somebody who was complaining that she helped campaign for somebody who later on did not live to the expectation. So Bonnie, this is interesting. I'm bringing it simply because I want us to look at this thing. What are the expectations my youth wanakuanga nayo during voting? People give you promises, wanawambia Boni, hii mtaa yenu mimi nikikoa vijana tutapewa kazi. So unajua vijana wamejua kazi itakuwa. Then after that, vijana hawapati kazi. They still meet you on the rallies. And that is when people get tired and now start heckling. I want to listen to, there's a certain lady who is really complaining. You will give me your take on it later. There's a lady who's really complaining here. It's a long one, but I'll try to shorten it.
Don't want niongee kama mbaya. I have nothing to lose now. Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi. My friend, the nilikuwa natoa videos nikiambia Waluya support your own. Support your own so that you can get space. Support tukufe na mtu wetu. Ndio tukue on the negotiation table. Sasa tuko on the negotiation table. But shock us. Shock on our fucking asses. Boss ulifika ukatusahau. Ulifika ukasahau watu wenye walikupigania. Ulifika ukasahau foot soldiers wako wote. Watu wenye tuko tunaambia Waluya tukufe na mtu wetu. Waluya, I am sorry. I am sorry. I fucked up. I made a mistake. Kumbe yenye unadhania ndio sio. My friend, in my wildest dream, by the niliuoniwa, walituona wakatuambia hapana. Nyinyi mtakufa hapo lakini mtasaidika. Ndio hapa tunaona sasa. Ndio hapa tunaona sasa. Musalia kwa nyumbani after nominations list ilita kwanza. I came and talked to you in front of Chegenya. You told me you'd give me a job. Musalia, you know I'm a widow. Niliacha watoto wangu nyumbani nikakuja kuzunguka. You made me the director for women, youth and mobilization countrywide because of the job that I was doing. I earned that space. Na niliacha watoto nikazunguka Kenya mzima, branding, mobilizing. Mtu yote angejaribu kudea kufight Musalia, I was there on the forefront. T9 ya Musalia Mudavadi, fighting for him. Walituona. Say, give me 2 months. Give me a month. It's now heading to 2 years, nothing. Say hata simu hazishikwi. Simu hazishikwi sahi. Ukipiga ukisumbua sana, natumiwa kakitu utulie. But hakuna kazi. Mimi ndio mama na baba kwangu. Watoto wangu mimi nikikosa wamekosa. Boss tulikukufia. Sasa kama sisi watu wako wa karibu, yani sasa naangalia kila mtu, kina boy, kina yani watu wote, anybody who got a job ni mwenye amejitetea ama you had somebody. Nomination yenye ilikuwa NCMP waliuza, walipatia tu somebody who wasn't even a member, hakuna mtu anamjua. Inaitwa chama chetu, shienu ni shienu, nijipate. Hey, nijipate tena. Gai wale poleni. Mulituoni, mulisema bora watu washibe bas. The rest of you are nothing. Sasa ndo nimekuja kurealize. 10 good years I've stood with this guy. Mimi mpaka yani ilifika point ukiongea juu ya Musalia, it's like you've offended me personally. Na yani nimepigana.
Bonnie, I think you've heard that. That is what youths are expecting. Not only youths, Kenyan voter. Listen to that lady. That lady, she's somehow regretting, crying, complaining, and such things does not lead to the heckling that you are seeing. Maybe there's something that the governor promised these guys and they feel like, governor alituambia atapatia kaosh pale na hajapeana kaosh. Like, if you listen to that lady, can you say those are personal interest? And our leaders elected for personal interest, because the lady is complaining aliadiwa kazi na Mudavadi hajapewa kazi, nominations venye zimeenda venye alicampaign. Do people campaign for leaders because they believe in what the leader can do, or they campaign for leaders because of what they expect the leader to do to them personally? One first. I think that one can make us understand why people heckle and how to sort out this issue of heckling. Mnasikiza huyo madam kabisa, amelea. Wewe ukimwangalia hizo malalamishi zake ni zile zake personal ama ni zile zinaenda kusaidia jamii?
Hapa inategemea na vile aliambiwa na kiongozi wake. But ukiangalia vile anaongea ni kama she has some hidden promises that were made when they were together. But I don't think that Musalia Mudavadi can do that. Of course, maybe someone else might share that their personal interest and they were promised something by Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. But again, we know that every Kenyan, even you, me, always want to get a part when it comes to the government. So she is trying to make a right, you know. Maybe she was promised something, so she wants to make sure that whatever she was promised, that she can get involved. Because if you get involved, then definitely that will be a promised delivery. So the woman, after listening to her, it's like there is something that was promised. She has said that she mobilized a lot of people. She has been going viral so that she can make sure that she can mobilize and make sure that they can vote for Musalia Mudavadi. But again, when you consider what happened towards the election 2022, a lot of leaders dismissed Azimio party coalition and they joined UDA. We can see Musalia Mudavadi is one of them, and Moses Wetangula, they joined UDA. You saw other leaders, likes of Dr. Alfred Mutua, likes of Mike Buvisongo. They towards the end of the year, towards the election, they joined UDA. So I think that was the time that those people who supported Musalia Mudavadi, or any person that we heard some things that they had shared, that it is high time that now that person changed the mentality and they changed their ways of doing things. Because if they joined, then UDA.
And let me ask you, umeona huyo mwanamke ama huyo dada venye amezungumza, do you think these are the people wenye sasa ukikuja kwa mkutano, let's say today Musalia Mudavadi ameenda kwa meeting, this somebody mwenye amesema wenye alikuwa na mobilize, aren't they not the people who normally organize for the heckling that you normally see? Because heckling, it doesn't just happen. Wewe Boni huwezi enda tu kwa mkutano ya mtu na uko umejipanga, hakuwa amekukaribisha, umepata mtu anaongea alafu unaanza kumwambia unaanza kuheckle. Unless ulikuwa umejipanga, huyo akikuja akisema hivi, mimi nitasema hivi. If it doesn't concern you, I think the best thing you can do, for example, if there's somebody, a politician you don't like, na umepata kona mkutano, the best you can do is to walk away and avoid kusimama hapo. But huyu ameenda, wamekaa, wanasikiza, they are waiting for specific person. See, ni watu kama hawa, does it mean, I think it's about frustrations and failure to meet the expectations ndio inafanya we are having people heckling in this kind of meetings. Is it true?
Yeah. You can hear that the lady is very frustrated.
And Inspire
she's
Women
talking
is
with a lot
also
of
telling
bitterness.
us that I get you, bitterness. So heckling is as a result of bitterness. Inspire Women is saying that there is a difference between heckling and trying to send a message of dissatisfaction and frustration. I think she's on point, because like that lady, she's sending some message of being dissatisfied. At the same time, she's frustrated. So this is a person that when you share a platform with is likely to do what you saw happening in Bomet. She's likely to mobilize people whom they share with the same frustrations to try to shut you down when you're speaking. What can we do now? Bonnie, did you get me? Sorry, I don't know.
No,
I'm
I'm
the
not.
one who was hanging. I was saying, what can politicians do to ensure that they don't get heckled in this kind of meetings? In your maybe, what do you think they should do? Because it's now becoming a character. Initially, there are specific people, I don't want to go into that line, that were believed to have a group of hecklers. But now it's becoming a character. In each and every meeting, you see people being heckled. So it's not that, and again, I know they are also borrowing this, even our members of parliament also.
So I think politicians and those people who are elected by the citizens, they need to make sure that they keep the promises. When you are elected, personally, I believe that when you're elected as a leader, the very most important thing you have to do is to make sure that whatever you promise to the citizens, make sure you deliver, make sure you fulfill the promises. Common Mwananchi does not need a lot of things. He only needs low cost of living, power, and very few things, because you cannot be taking part in every part of the country that is development. But again, there are key basic things that you need to consider when you are elected. Number one, make sure that when you are leader, you always focus with the cost of living. When the cost of living is so standardized, then definitely Kenyans or the common mwananchi will be in good place and they will not complain. But again, if the cost of living is high, you're not fulfilling what you promised. For example, the roads are poor, electricity, there's no electricity, there is no food, the things are very costly. So those are the things that makes people talk. Those are the things that makes citizens talk with a lot of bitterness. So politicians, I think they need to focus with those things, because if they focus with them, then definitely they are going to be in a good place. But if you go there and you are doing nothing, this is what will raise eyebrows to the common mwananchi. And of course, when you go to those rallies, definitely they are going to raise a voice. They are going to heckle on you, because they want to pass information that it is not being delivered. So I think that is the only way that people who are elected, they should always focus and make sure that they give the best when it comes to development and making sure that the common mwananchi is on the front seat.
Thank you, Bonnie, for such input. So as I welcome Zalendo, Goodyear is saying that, you see, heckling was the only way to get through the authority. Heckling is part of protest. So Mzalendo, welcome on board. What we are looking at right now is over the weekend, we are just trying to analyze some of the things that happened over the weekend. We saw the president, not the president himself being heckled, but we saw leaders who accompanied the president in these meetings being heckled in the presence of the president. But the moment you see such kind of heckling is happening, it shows that the people have also lost respect to the president himself, because it's normally something awkward to see people washing their dirty linens in the presence of actually a president, somebody who, when he comes, you expect your governor, your MP to be trying to tell the president some of the things that you need to be done, or some of the favors that you need from the presidency. So we saw it happen not once, not twice, but in the president's backyard, a place that people expected that whenever he went, all the differences are put aside, then people heroically welcomes him. So we are trying to look at this trend that is happening among the youth. And that is something that even made the deputy president so upset, and he had to lecture them for almost 10 minutes. And even the minister or the cabinet secretary of interior have ordered that these guys be arrested, even though we still don't know the charge that they are going to be maybe charged with, what is going to be written in the charge sheet, because we don't have any law discriminating heckling. And from what we've seen here, even from the comment section, we've been told that, okay, heckling is a form of communication. Yeah, Good is saying that heckling is the only way to get through the authority. So Mzalendo, good afternoon or good morning from your end. Do you think that the youths have exhausted all the communication channels that they can use to ensure that their leaders get to know their grievances, that now they are resorting to public heckling so that they can attract the attention and ensure that they communicate?
Can you hear me, Leo? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Am I clear?
You are clear. Proceed.
Thank you, Bonnie. Can see you are drifting to sleep. Thank you, Leo, for inviting me to this occasion. Well, let me start by saying by playing for you this video. Then I think that's what you're talking about.
But what political leaders stand up and say my party is a party of principles? For the party of Kennedy is also the party of Islam. The party of Jarvis is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protest? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police official kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
I can see Leo has left the studio, but I wanted to answer him very candidly that we are indeed part of the problem. When you see politicians heckling leaders, then you know that we are in the right direction. When you see politicians heckling leaders, know that we are in the right direction. Why am I saying this? Because most of us during election time, we are denied a chance to elect leaders of our choice. That is what happened in Rift Valley when the president was visiting. Because of the political euphoria of UDA, those who got party tickets, people did not care about policy, but they cared about the person who is inclined to the president. So heckling of a leader is just a message that is sent outside there that we need services, we need services, we need good representation. The kind of representation we have is not the right one. Whether it is the president's choice, uh, it is not performing. Whether the people did a mistake, it's not performing. So people should have a voice to raise their concern. And the people of Kericho did exactly that. And they rose up to the occasion, said that the governor that was elected in UDA is not a performer. That is a freedom of expression. That is what we want. That is what people should stand for. When your leader is not performing, whether they are elected MCAs, elected senators, elected women representatives, elected MPs, all the way to the presidency, we are defined. We that's why Azimio were on the streets when they felt that they are not represented. Yeah, they are not represented. So this is what we need to be talking about each and every time. We need representation. We need services in our counties. Let us not be politically affiliated to these political big figures, but be principled. Look for leaders with good policies, whether they are inclined to ODM or UDA, but define their policies. Don't elect people because of euphoria. Don't elect people because Raila Odinga has said, or William Ruto has said, or Kalonzo Musyoka has said that this is my man. You understand? That is the thing that is bothering people. Another thing is that youths
I
are
get you.
used as youths are used as voting machines. Yeah, voting machines. They're the ones who are taken to the streets. They're the ones who are used as voting machines to vote for these leaders. So youth should rise up into positions of leadership. Into position of leadership. That's why very soon we are starting the Youth for Youth movement. This is a movement that is going to cut across Africa. That each and every youth can be represented in that table and negotiate on that table with this political class. You saw it, that video, I played it specifically for you to know that by the age of 23 years, John Lewis was already struggling for the freedom of the blacks in America, the freedom of right of choice. Well, that's where we are. We need to have freedom of right of choice to choose our leaders. Our leaders will not choose for us. We need that freedom to know that this is the kind of leader that we want to serve us in the next 5 years. And after 5 years, we look at their scorecard. This is the message that should be sent out there for the sycophants outside there, for the sycophants you to keep on singing politicians' names each and every time. Sing the service delivery song. I need roads, I need schools, I need education, and I need proper hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mzalendo. Inspire Women is also telling you that now you're talking Mzalendo today, you are true Mzalendo. So just still on you, the video that I've just played is so powerful, and one of the most important thing that you get there is that uh, where is that political party that stands for our right? The reason why I'm aching this is this thing, if you look at the Kenyan politics, it is not only on specific political parties. You've seen it happening in weekend, the UDA, and this governor whom they were heckling, which is true according to Geoffrey Ruto, they were not heckling the president, but they were heckling the governor, of which most comments there are saying that they were trying to communicate to the president, who is the head of the party. And that was the only way they can communicate that, okay, this governor is not doing the right thing. But you, as the owners or the leaders of this party, maybe can do something. When you came, I was playing a video of a certain lady who was complaining how she had the power to mobilize people, telling people to join ANC of Musalia Mudavadi. Then after the elections, now that Musalia Mudavadi is in the negotiation table, nothing happened to her. When she called, they can only send her some money to keep quiet. Then other people were nominated, other people were given employment. But if you listen to that lady, somebody who is able to mobilize, that means if she offered herself for any position, she would have campaigned for herself. The same thing with the youth. Do you think youth have got that capacity to campaign for themselves rather than campaigning for others? Look at each and every election that we have in this country. You find that people will always, even when they're addressing the voters, they say, vijana oi, meaning these youths and women are normally the majority. Why is it that the youths who are the majority will always be campaigning for the old guards who cannot be able to perform, yet they're the ones who are mobilizing, they're the ones who are campaigning? What can they do so that they can campaign for themselves?
Yes, thank you, Leo, for that question, because this is the most important topic that we need to be focusing on each and every day. That today the youth are no longer able to rise up and talk about the issues that are affecting them, because elections in Kenya have become so expensive. Elections in Kenya are for the rich. If you want to stand for any political seat as the Leo Nyabaya, let me tell you, you need to have roughly 5 million in your account. That is for the smallest seat, like the MCA seat. You need to have like 5 million in your account to campaign and contest against the sitting MCA. Going upwards, it is the same. Even the body that is that is in charge of conducting or vetting candidates, you require to pay a certain amount for the political parties in order to participate for this particular seat. Look at the way the political parties are charging the candidates. For governor, it's I don't know whether it's $500,000 or $1,000,000 shillings to be a governor. For Senate, I think it's almost 250,000 or $500,000, something to that range.
It's like for a governor, it's $500,000. And remember, you also have to pay this money to your political party for nomination. Then again, you're also going to pay money for the IBC. So I agree with you.
And look at what they've said also. Even if Leo Nyabaya is contesting today and he loves his political party, I am sure you've not been a contributor of your political party. I know your political affiliation, but you have not been a contributor for that political party for so long. You've never contributed a single cent to the political party. You are only registered as a member. They will not consider you for nomination, whether you like it or not, because you've not been contributing. So that already locks you out as a youth who is able to deliver. Because financially you've not been contributing to the political party. And secondly, they don't care about your policy or what you bring on the table. They care about the money they collect from you. And that is the most important thing. Now, why youth cannot have a voice is because the electorate, who are majority of the youth, also depend on handouts. Today, if you look at in the internet and go, thank you, Inspire Women, for congratulating me for once on the comment section. You've not been reading what I say each and every time. So I say the same thing, but in different words. It's only that you only pick on the bad ones. But nearly 90% of what I say is right. 90% of what I say is what we need to do moving forward as a country. Leo, back to your point. The Kenyan youth today depends on handouts. They depend on being lined up being lined up and being given 50 shillings, 100 shillings, 200 bob by the politician. They are voting machines, all right? The youth today are voting machines. They are the most useless block, and again they are the most useful block, all right? And they don't know their power. So that's why the conversation needs to shift. A youth should know their power, and they should come to that table of negotiation. Tell me, in the NADCA report that was just out, how many youths did you see in that table negotiating on behalf of the youth? Yet they were on the streets, and most of them were killed. How many of them did you see on that table? How many of those Jacaranda strong supporters of Azimio did you see on that table? You
We
barely
didn't
will.
see as many.
Did you see any of them in Boma stocks or when the NADCA report was being
We saw some youths who are dressed in some designer suits and had some well polished shoes, but the ones who on the streets were not there. So we were able
those
to
ones?
see some well established youths.
Yeah, you see, uh, when even on the report, youth should vet the report and look at what is there for them. What is in NADCA report that is there for the youth? They'll tell you it is representation. That representation, the people who are going to be elected in those particular positions are the politicians. Are the politicians. They are not going to elect technocrats. They're going to elect people who are affiliated to political parties, either in Wiper, ODM, and the likes. Hmm? So that is what's
Get you very
happening
well.
here.
I get you very well. So, Bonnie, maybe just a question. Mzalenda has really said some of the challenges why youth cannot present themselves for selection or election. Look at the few youths that have been given opportunity, or the few youths that maybe because of one or two, three things they've managed to reach there. For example, if you go to our parliament, we're having people like Silvanus Sasoro, those are young men. We are having Jalaz, that is Langata MP. We have people like Peter Salasia. We have people like the Saboti MP, Bamisi. We have people like Babu, do you think these guys entered or do you think these guys have really have shown some kind of leadership that can make people leadership of youths au pia wanatuchomea picha pale mbele?
Some of them, so I think Mr. Leo, some of
Boni,
them have shown. I think some of them have shown that ability. They can do well when it comes to politics, but others, they are not able to prove to the Kenyans that youth can be good leaders. So I think those young politicians, they have a lot of work to do. They need to prove to the Kenyans that they can do well and they can perform good jobs so that the Kenyans will gain that trust. And I'm very sure by the end, then Kenyans will be able to vote for them. But now, I think we have not even seen anyone who can do a good job when it comes to the youth. So we have a lot of time. We still have a long way to go as we transform from the old generation to the new one.
to be, but okay, I'll take this one back to Mzalendo. The reason why I want us to look at this thing, we are not only here to maybe react to news or to react to what has happened politically, but we should also be shaping the discussion and showing the direction. Because if we keep on reacting or having that activity, we will keep on complaining time that you see, oh, vijana hawana kazi, oh, vijana hawachaguliwi, oh, vijana hawana bahati, and such kind of things. It will really happen. So before maybe I wanted to pose a question concerning how the youth that have been given opportunity have behaved, if they are showing a good example that can make people be proud and elect or give more youth opportunity. Let me welcome Secretary General and Secretary General Karibu Sana. We started our discussion with what happened in Bomet and Kericho, heckling the president, right? People are heckling in.
SG, it's your turn to talk, man. You look great.
Thank you. I think where is Leo? Leo is in Somalia. Ama ako wapi? Place haina network bwana.
This guy, he seems to be in Somalia. Network yake is so terrible. I don't know why.
It's terrible bwana.
Your network is pathetic.
Aongea na wanaume. You know, sometimes when you're in problems, you talk to problem. Maybe there's a way. Hata kama bibi anakusumbua unaongea na wanaume, we sort these things out.
Hiyo imetoka wapi?
Anyway, it was by the way. It's called on a light note.
You know, there's sometimes I am so afraid to joke on the internet, because there are some people who take jokes literally serious. Have you ever met those kind of people? You joke with them and it becomes personal.
You should develop a thick skin in life. Hata ukiitwa umbo unasema thank you, my dog. Sasa usipo develop a thick skin na unajokiwa, you live a miserable life.
I remember how you used to attack me, and
no, we attacking me. You and me, we know this is just superficial. Tukikutana mahali gari yako imeko, tunakunywa chai tunasema na jana ulinigonga, and that is life. And then we move on.
People should know that. People should know that about politics. They don't know.
Politics is not about hatred. Your own ideology. I should accept your opinion, and then you should accept my opinion, and that is how life is. Kwa sababu si zote hatuwezi fanana. For example, wewe unakaa uko na kilo 150, si ndio?
Hiyo hata ni kidogo umesema. Mimi niko na mbili kwenda huko. Wewe umesema 150. Wewe unaongea juu 150 na mimi niko 200 pounds na kuelekea 300. You are talking about 200.
You should join wrestling bwana. Wewe unataka kukuwa na akina Undertaker huko na akina block listener. But anyway,
that is how society is. Kuna watu kama mimi watakuwa wanene hivi.
Na mimi
watakuwa
lightweight. Kama leo akulangi, I think yako kwa place iko na problem ya chakula. So we need to accept each and every person. Inaitwa unity in diversity. We are diverse, but we are united for the focus, because the reason we come here is because we want the best for our country and the best for our people.
True.
But sasa ukikuwa personal, bro, how do we grow? So mimi I want one day siku moja ukuje tuchome nyama, tucheke, tufurahie happenings of Kenya, because I don't think there is any country in the world that is so interesting like Kenya, because we have very interesting happenings, very interesting politics that makes us each and every day want to live in Kenya more. You understand what I mean? So each and every day we have a joke. Ukiingia kwa memes za Kenya, uangalie vile watu wana joke, unafurahia tu. So you have to develop a thick skin. Anyway, Leo karibu sana. What were you saying?
Over the weekend umeona vijana misbehave mbele ya rais. Rais ameenda kupeleka maendeleo na kupeleka ujumbe muhimu. Kama leo tumepewa ujumbe muhimu kuanzia June, wale watu wamependa video mtakuwa monetized. Instead of listening to the president, wao walianza kuheckle their governor. They had issues with their governor, wanangoja rais aende ndio aanze kupigana na governor. Do you think it was the right thing for youth to do? Hii era mali tumefika. Is it the only way yenye wanaweza communicate? Because people are saying heckling is the way of communicating. Is it the only way then wanaweza communicate waseme vitu are not okay? Ama kuna other better ways yenye wanaweza tumia channels kama za chama, kufika kwa chama pale waseme umejua party mlitupatia huyu kama governor na tuoni anafanya kazi vizuri, tufanye hivi.
Unajua leo, one of the things, let us separate issues. Hii monetization, kwani imeanza na Ruto? Where has Ruto been? Where has Kenya Kwanza been? Monetization started in 2001. My brother, it's started.
But Kenya like African countries, they don't get monetized. So unapata kama wewe ni Mkenya ndio ukue monetized, account inakuwa registered like elsewhere. Yeah, Facebook.
No, unless you are new in the internet section, you get monetized immediately. You have content. Now, let me tell you personally, hata mimi nimeweza receive pesa kutoka kwa Google, and I received in back in 2014. And actually, what only you need to do is you have a PayPal, you have your bank account, and they send money without anything. I don't know where you people have been, because monetization in Kenya did not start with Kenya Kwanza. It's not starting now. It has always been there. People have been paid, even the days of Kibaki and Uhuru. So sijui what is this hula baloo and excitement is coming from. Unless by there I'm telling you the truth. I had an app, ilikuwa inaitwa Chanuka Initiative, na ilipoingia kwa mtandao mi nilipata pesa kwa bank. So when you talk about monetization, what is monetization? It is to make sure that your content is paid. Umeelewa? So hiyo kwanza tutoe kando, tuachane na hiyo story za Abunwasi, tujue ya kwamba monetization has been there. Heckling, I want to say this. When you do not provide jobs to the young people, the devil will provide that job to them. It is the first time in the history of Kenya a president is not being heckled but disrespected in his meetings. And ask yourself why. First of all, it is because he has proven he cannot work. He cannot be in an office and make decisions. And you know, the way you are like, okay, let me put it this way. President Ruto cannot do without campaigns. And so people have not differentiated between him as the president and the person campaigning to be the president. If you know what I mean. Wanaona ni ule jamaa alikuwa anakuja kutuambia mambo ya bottom up. So many people still believe huyu jamaa ni kama hajai kuwa president. In their subconscious mind, they still believe he's just the other fellow. They don't know he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Kenya. They don't know he's the CEO of the Republic of Kenya. They don't know that. Because they see him in campaigns from January to December. That is where the problem is coming from. Because mimi nilikuwa Kericho. By the way, I have a homa. Nimekaa Kericho for 1 week. When he was there, I was there. I swear. And he could even listen to people some inches before. Wako karibu na gari hapo, wanamjibu tu hapo. Anasema hiyo mambo ya stima wacha tuongea. Hiyo mambo ya nini ya barabara tuongea. That is not how a president should behave. And so, the problem is not with the Kenyans. It's not with the youth. It is with the president.
Where is the problem? What is the problem?
I say the problem is with the president. He should stop
How now?
campaigning. He should get out of the roof of the vehicle. Aende Harambee House, akae hata 1 week. Approve projects and negotiate contract and negotiate loans. Atoke juu ya gari, atoke kanisani, ili Wakenya wajue kweli kwa hizi. Because I can tell you for free, we take it or leave it. Many people don't feel the presidency today in Kenya. I can tell you for free. Na si kwa sababu watu wanachukia sura ya Ruto, ni kwa sababu he doesn't act, he doesn't behave, he doesn't talk, he doesn't look like the president. President have what we call aura. They have what we call demeanor. They have what we call gravitas. Inafika mahali unasema na rais ni kweli yako, lakini kama unajibuini na watu wa kijiji, unatukana huyu, you blame everybody, you don't blame yourself. That is where the problem is, my brother. So we want a country where
is with the president, not the youth, because somebody is saying, okay, the youths were given promises, ukweli, waliambiwa tawafanyia hii, tawafanyia hii, tawafanyia hii, but now these promises have not been fulfilled, but there is no any other channel that the youths can use to reach the president or to reach whoever to go and give their grievances. So the youths now decide to wait for these people when they come to public. Of course, the president has got a role to go and explain to people that, okay, nilipokuja hapa, niliwaambia nitawatengenezea hii barabara A. Sasa hivi ndio huyo contractor. I think that is not campaigning.
my brother,
so the president was on a development tour.
If which development? You cannot be in a development tour for 2 years. It doesn't even make sense. Tunaomba rais, na najua ananisikiza because he's my friend. Tengeneza choo from foundation, ichimbwe ifike hata ile ya shimo, ifike futi 20, ikuje iwekwe tiles, iwekwe hata tanki juu. You launch that and say, wakati nilikuwa rais, wakati nilikuwa na campaign, nisema nitatengeneza choo hapa. Hii choo imewekwa mpaka stima na iko na wifi. Today, nobody can point one thing that this president has done. Not even one. Hakuna. The only thing he has done ni nitatenga bilioni 50 hapa, nitapanga, tumekubaliana, tumekuja kujua, tumesikizana, tumefanya, tutafanya, tumesema.
Before ujenge, lazima uanze kwa kutenga, upange. You can't just wake up and say, oh, this one is a building. It only happened in the Bible, is whereby when God was creating the earth. But nowadays, you must plan. Useme, tutafanya hii, wacha tuweke hii pesa. Then you have a timeline. Then after that timeline, then it gets realized.
Kibaki akiwa kufanya campaign, one of the greatest promises, one of the greatest pledges Kibaki promised us was a free primary education. Na najua kila Mkenya anajua hiyo. Kibaki akasema nikiingia katika urais nitatenga pesa na tuwe na free primary education. He never came back to Kenyans to tell them about free primary education. We just saw the actualization of it within 6 months. Actually, 6 weeks. Watu waliingia shule bila kuulizwa swali lolote. So hii story ya Ruto ni hadithi za abunwasi. Hizi ni story ambazo asitusaidii. Kila siku unatenga 2 years later, you're still tengering, you're still pangaling, you're still kubalianaling. It is boring to people. And that is why you see that in his meetings, Kenyans, young people are becoming impatient. In fact, let me put it this way. Unajua kuna kitu nimekuja
Yeah.
kurealize na hii government ya Kenya kwanza. I think they are mistaking the generation they are leading with the generation that Moi led, with the generation that Kibaki led. This is a very dynamic generation. Wanaitwa sijui Jay-Z, sijui Jay what. They are impatient and they want results.
You get it?
Huwezi kaa kila siku
They want
unaambia
results.
utafanya.
Shikilia hapo Mr. G. Shikilia hapo as I welcome those on the comment section that karibuni. This is Afrique 24 hour. This is an open political talk show that comes to you every day from 10 p.m. up to past midnight. And actually, what we're doing here, we are just discussing matters Kenyan politics. And we are not only discussing politics, but we also try to come up with some ways of making things get better in our country. We're also trying to come up with some resolution. So we are not only reacting to what has happened politically, but we're also trying to create a solution. So through this kind of talk shows, I think we're going to reach one or few people who will have to change their mindset and ensure that Kenya is run in the right direction. So welcome, and if you're joining me for the first time and you've not subscribed to Afrique 24 hour, kindly ensure that you do that so that whenever we go live, you will always get notified. And even if you don't get time to follow live, you will always get an opportunity to follow up on our discussion. And remember, here we are also condoling with the Kenyans who lost their lives in the accidents that have happened today. It's so sad that we've lost more than 10 students, that is from the KU, and other accidents that also happened across the country. So we also need to be vigilant and ensure that our roads are safe. We need to be careful while using this road so that we don't lose life like that. And also to those Kenyans on TikTok, we're also mourning Brian Chira, who also lost his life through accident. And to the media fraternity, to the fourth estate and the journalists and the news reporters and everybody, it's also sad that Rita Tidina passed away through unknown circumstances. So condolences to the bereaved families. We also wish a quick recovery to the people who've been hospitalized due to accidents that happened in various places in this country. And we pray that people follow the traffic rules. We pray that people be vigilant as they are using these roads. And without forgetting, this channel is also advocating and praying for the Kenyan former Prime Minister Raila Odinga so that he can be able to clinch the AU chairman. So we are in support of that. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The conversation is still on. And as I always tell you that if you want to join the studio to be part of the conversation, I'll always share the link on the comment section. So use the link there and join the studio. And if you don't feel like joining the studio, we have an option. We're having a comment section. So you can use the comment section to let us know where you are joining from. You can also take part in the conversation, like what Goodyear, Geoffrey Ruto and Inspire Women is doing. So your comments there are so valuable. Your comments are forming part of the conversation, and we'll always ensure that we respond to them and answer the questions and respond to the concerns that you're giving. So Mzalendo, as I get you, there's a concern on the comment section by Inspire Women. I just want you to comment on this, and maybe if you can be able to weigh on it. Inspire Women is saying it is almost 2 years down the line. Vijana Mtaani job, you know, kazi mtaani, it's not new to you, was scrapped off immediately after getting in the office. Why? What do you expect young people attending a campaign type of meetings to do? Like, why do I think the concern is that the kazi mtaani is not there, so most youths are unemployed. So you will always find youths in plenty when you're having such kind of rally, and these are some of the things that are making youths to heckle. So I just want to get your comment on that, and maybe the plans that you think the government should put in place to ensure they do away, they deal with this unemployment issue. Remember when the president was campaigning, they promised to provide over 1 million jobs a year, which 2 years down the line, we're expecting 2 million who've been absorbed in a new job. Forget about the ones who've been retrenched, the ones who've retired. We're expecting something like that sort. The president promised and have been promising that through the affordable housing fund, they'll be able to create employment in the construction companies. And that is something that is just a promise because remember, this is something that is yet to be actualized. Are yet to be put into use. So we cannot, as we talk of this, we should also have in mind, shall this one fail? Shall maybe the courts and everything say that, okay, this affordable thing is not working, tuiache kando? Is there any other plan the government should have? I'm not asking you if the government is having, because I know you're not part of the government. You are just a panelist. You can just give your views and maybe something strongly believe the government can do. So I'm not asking you as a government, but as asking you as a concerned citizen who might be having an idea or who might be knowing something that somebody else is not aware of. So kindly, if you can just weigh on that.
Thank you, Leo, for yet giving me another opportunity to answer that question. First, this guy called SG, he normally gives some very interesting remarks. Then I have noticed this pattern on the way he comes to the studio. He comes with the toilet story, and then he runs away. Today, he also has some he has some lies that he doesn't want to be countered, like the issue of the internet, of Facebook. I think we were trying to tell him that Kenya has started monetization. By the way, this thing is starting in June. He is not aware. This is the kind of ignorant voter who is not aware of what is happening around him. He's not aware that Facebook has not started monetization in Kenya. So he comes and tells you very relevant statements, then he leaves very, very fast. So those statements are absorbed by people there who think that he's saying the truth, but actually he's lying. He's lying. He's just like what he says that about President Ruto, that is a liar. So he's one of the biggest liar who comes in and says things that are not factual, things that you cannot prove. But the fact is, nobody in Kenya has been paid by Facebook, and they will be starting those services sometimes by June. That is the fact. Now, back to your question about this lady. What is her name again? Inspire Women. Inspire Women is talking about.
Inspire women.
Yeah, and yourself, you are asking what the government has done and what is doing, and Inspire Women said something very interesting, that zile kazi za kuchimba mtaro, the government stopped them. I'm wondering, from Inspire Women's point of view, how many youths were able to be absorbed in kuchimba mtaro. From my knowledge, from where I come from, my village, I don't think that watu wanachimbiwa mtaro pale kwa ward ile mimi natoka. those jobs were for the urbanites, the people who are in urban areas. So hiyo kuchimba mtaro, it was a bit selective. It was just addressing the concern of the youths in the urban center. You didn't see them in Migori, you didn't see them in Homa Bay, you didn't see them anywhere in the rural setting. So it didn't cover most people. So that was something that people should not jump around and talk about, that vijana wangu wanachimba mtaro mahali na ni kazi mzuri sana. And again, it did not absorb the entire youth. Perhaps you should go and look at the population of the youth in Kenya and see how many are unemployed to date. Then you realize that hiyo kuchimba mtaro was not good enough, and it was not an initiative that was going to prosper Kenya youth to the next level. Having said that, the president has initiated some very, very good proposals, some very, very good achievements with the digital hub through the minister for communication, the PS for communication, Eliud Owalo. What they're doing in the rural areas to create these internet hubs. Internet hubs is a place where you can go as a youth and do your research, do your paperwork, and also communicate and look for jobs in the internet, and look for even content creation now that Facebook is going to be monetized. That is an opportunity that you should not take for granted. That is those are the opportunities in the 21st century. This wheel called Kenya has started rolling. Don't roll people back to kuchimba mtaro. Kuchimba mtaro hizo ni kazi za kitambo sana. Siku hizi mtaro inachimbwa na machine, inachimbwa na tractor. Inspire women. Kuna tractor inachimba mtaro vizuri sana, and we don't need our youth to be doing that kind of work. That is manual labor work that youths are being subjected. Ni kama wale wakoloni na Wahindi walikuwa wanatengeneza railway line ya kutoka Mombasa kwenda kukuja Nairobi. So hizo ni kazi za kitambo sana. Saizi dunia imepanuka kwa njia ya teknolojia. So mambo ya kuchimba mtaro, those are things, hizo ni vitu za kitambo. So we need to start thinking on the way forward. Now, in the issue of housing, I can inspire women and so many people out there. By the end of 5 years, when the president will be touring most of the regions in Kenya, he will be telling you, this is my project. It has employed so many youths, including your cousin or your brother or a relative or somebody that you know that is supplying or having a hardware in that particular area. That is what they will be telling you. When you go to other places, they will be telling you that, there is a fish cold storage if you come from Nyanza and Western region that are initiated that is working for the people that was never before in that particular area. So these are the small little achievements that the president will be telling you. He will also be telling you that I employed so many teachers who are currently working compared to any other government that was there before. So these are achievements you cannot water them down by kazi ya kuchimba mtaro. So these are big achievement. And again, he will also tell you that I gave Raila Odinga a job as the AUC Commission Chair. Those are not a small thing. I initiated it. He will be telling you that. So even if you are saying one or two things about the president, know that he's doing something to help the general Kenyan population. Yes, so those are the small little things that I can say that the president has done directly to help the people of Kenya. So Ruto's plan is ambitious. If you go to the Western region, Mumias, people will tell you that right now, mashini ishaanza kuguruma. Ya ukienda Slash atakwambia mashini yake ya Mumias inaanza kusiaga mahindi, inaanza kusiaga miwa. So those are the things that Ruto has achieved in his 1 year in government. So watch out for what the president is doing. Again, in his agenda, and you will realize that indeed this president has done more than enough. The the Konza Digital Skills Program, that's a very good program. And if youths are out there, they should know that these are things that offer you opportunity in the international employment market. Yeah, so you explore so many avenues where you can work from home, and through these treaties that is signing with companies, and you've seen the guy of Facebook coming into Kenya. That don't take that for granted, because it was not done in the previous government. It was done in his government. So he bottom up economy. Whether it is working or not, it is up to you in 5 years to judge him whether the micro, what do you call it, the SMEs, the micro SMEs are indeed getting loans from the government to improve their jobs. You'll also ask the farmers whether this subsidized fertilizer is indeed free, or they are paying more money in Ruto's government. So these are achievements. These are the things that we can't take for granted. Yeah.
Thank you. Boniface, umesikiza jinsi mzalendo amesema. Do you think that the affordable housing project Boniface inaenda to solve the problem of unemployment among the youths? Because if you talk of unemployment among the youths, just Mzalendo told you, the kazi of Kiba Mtaro was within the urban centers and that kind of thing. So do you think it's going to solve this unemployment problem? And will it be discriminatory, whereby there are some people in some areas who will not get an opportunity to be absorbed in this project? Remember, the housing project is not going to be done like in all the parts of the country. And even for the start, only a few places that have been mapped are the ones you're going to benefit. So what about the youths who are not going to experience this kind of service maybe in their areas? And for how long are they going to work in this? Like you, for example, in Nairobi, they are going to have an opportunity, maybe nyumba ya Nairobi kisha, will these youths waende tena after hizo 6 months waende Mombasa hivyo hivyo, or 6 months story yao imeisha, we are back to unemployment again?
I think housing finance, I think that is one of the projects that William Samoei Ruto has put into place that is going to make sure that they are going to take place. But again, people are focusing with the negative side of this housing bill rather than focusing on both a positive and a negative. Of course, it has some negative and also it has some positive impacts, because you see, when it comes to this housing, when it starts, President says that we shall be needing architects in those areas, we shall be needing those labor, and we shall be needing a lot of raw materials, so that you can compose those raw materials to make an house. Then definitely there will be a lot of activities that take place. So a lot of use, some use, I'm not saying it is going to capture all the use, but some use are going to get the job. Some people are going to get employed from this housing. But again, it has some negative impacts when it comes to this country. Not every person is going to access this house, because you need some money. You need to raise some certain amount of money so that you can get this house. So it has both negative and positive impacts to the country. But again, this is a project that William Ruto believes that with the time, when given time, then this one is going to make Kenyans understand what is Vision 2030, because I'm very sure it aligns with the SDGs. So William Ruto has those ambitions, and I think he has some ways so that he can make sure the country gets into the right position with the time. But again, Kenyans always focus with the negative side. And that's why people are complaining about this housing bill. Definitely, it has some impacts that are wanting to the citizens, but others are so negative, such that it will take some Kenyans time to understand what it entails when it comes to this housing bill. But again, William Ruto has some good plans when it comes to this country, because I have seen he's trying to transform this country from the analog time to a digital world, and that is where we are moving. There is a time that comes when every Kenyans will now be accessing everything through a digital platform. And that is where William Ruto is trying to make a legacy so that he can transform this country from analog time to a digital world.
Somebody has also. So, good year saying robots and drones are also at work, soon coming to Kenya. Mzalendo, a job is a job. We can't avoid the building departments. It's the same chilling whether you work in an office. The same fertilizer coming from some part of Kenya ground inside some secluded areas. Oh, there's this thing that has been brought about the fertilizer. It's one of the things that the president has really been talking about, that is going to lower the cost of living. But this time, this is the planting season in most parts of the country, and this is a time that people need that fertilizer. But there've been some uproar in these areas. I just want us to have a look at this.
Now want the Ministry of Agriculture to fast track the availability of subsidized fertilizers to ensure they're able to use it during the incoming planting season. For the last 4 days, hundreds of farmers have been camping at the National Cereals and Produce Board depot at Sagana in Kirinyaga with no luck. The farmers said that despite assurances from the government that the commodity has been distributed to the depots countrywide, they have still not been able to get it since the NCPB depots and stores are still empty. The farmers now want the government to make good their promise and ensure the subsidized fertilizer is available to them in good time before the long rains.
Hiyo tunaambiwa ni top. Na top ikikuja hatupatiwe top. Tunashindwa kama ni nini endelea. Kuna Kiswahili baadaye tuambiwa ukweli, tunaficha fichwa ni kama kuna Kiswahili fulani. Sasa tunauliza hii message ya kupanda ya planting situmiwa na top. Baadaye kuchidanga hapa saa zote tukikuja hapa.
Nimetoka Mkoroaine, nimekunja sulikia mpango wa fertilizer kwenda kupanda. Kwa sababu message ya subsidy ya fertilizer. Na hiyo fertilizer sijui kama ni vipi nitafanya, kwa sababu hivi nitaondoka bila kupata hiyo fertilizer. Na ni message ya fertilizer gunia mifuko miwili. Na sikuipata. Napewa hadi ya kesho, sijui kama nitaipata, manake watu wengine huku wamesema wanakuja kila siku wakiandikwa na hawajapata. So mimi ningetaka kujua kama itakuwaje, kwa sababu ninajaa. Nimekunja saa 11 asubuhi na hivi saa hizi tunaelekea saa 8 wananchi. Sasa mimi ningetaka kujua kama hii fertilizer na ni ya kununua itakuwaje, ndio nikija kesho nipate.
Ningetaka kuambia minister atuangalilie hali ya kitu naitwa kunja mapema kwa fertilizer, kwa sababu ikiwa
There's a concern over there. I think sometime when we had Munya, they also faced the same thing, whereby Munya announced that the fertilizers had been subsidized, but later on, yes, it was subsidized, but the fertilizer wasn't available. So Mzalendo, do you think this one is going to affect the productivity of agriculture? Because this is the time that people should be preparing the land and getting everything ready, that they cannot be able to get the subsidized fertilizers. Somebody
Leo, can you hear me?
is a concern. I can hear you loud and clear.
I think personally I feel like these are some of the things that needs proper planning. In that the government failed in its planning, but that does not mean that the fertilizers are not going to be on the shelves. It means maybe they failed in the delivery, or if it was coming from overseas, maybe the supplier has disappointed them. Remember, the government does not manufacture fertilizer. The government does not manufacture fertilizer. Their fertilizers are bought from companies, or they are donations from the international community. The few fertilizers that are manufactured by probably Unga Limited are not very affordable to many small-scale farmers or peasant farmers, the ones that you've seen on the screen. These are people who are looking for something affordable, but something that is on the shelf is either from a company and they can't afford it. So it is just poor organization from the Ministry of Agriculture. They need to step up their game. I think the CS in agriculture has been concentrating more on politics than service delivery. That is now evident in why you see people asking for these services.
You. And also on the contrary, it's not the first time. You remember when we had the CS Munya, he also did the same thing that William Ruto is doing. And maybe it's not the first time that the fertilizers are being subsidized in Kenya. But this project cracked because of delivery. The fertilizers were not enough. And up to date, if you ask Kenyans if the fertilizer prices were ever reduced in this country a year or 2 years ago, they'll tell you no, it's William Ruto who is doing it for the first time, simply because it didn't last past a year. They started it well, then at the end of the day, they were not able to deliver. Wakenya wakasahau. Could it be that this one pia itakuwa hivyo? Maybe before you comment on that, I can just maybe just for the sake of records.
It is 5 over 2 billion in subsidize fertilizer, wakati fertilizer yenu itakuja. Lakini already ile fertilizer ingine ile iko kwa NCPB tumepunguza bei. Ukienda pale kwa store ya NCPB iko Embu, si iko Embu? Wewe enda hapo. Tumeseremusha bei. Ile fertilizer ya kupanda inaitwa D8. Ilikuwa inaenda na 6,000. 6,000 tumeteremsha ni 2,800. Si ile fertilizer kwa manduka ya watu, hiyo ni mtu, ni ile iko kwa store ya NCPB ya serikali, na tumekuteremshia ndio uweze kupata gharama ya kufika huko. Ukienda huko nunua mifuko yako, na tumekubalia wewe kununua mpaka mifuko 20. 50 kg bag, 20 of them unaweza kununua kama mkulima binafsi. Unaweza kununua 10 ya kupanda na 10 ile ingine ya top dressing. Na fertilizer iko huko inaendelea kuletwa. Ikiisha karibu ishe inaletwa ingine. Hiyo serikali imetoa 5.7 billion kugharamia hiyo fertilizer. Na iko kwa store za serikali. Mtu atikuambia enda kwa duka hapa ukaenda ukute ya bei ni juu. Useme Munya amesema uongo. Hapana. Iko kwa NCPB. Shikaneni 3 4 mteremuke huko. Kama huko kwa lisi county community na kazi yako ndio kuandika hawa, kuregister hawa ndio waende, kwa sababu tutaki mtu atoke county nyingine akuje anunue mbolea ya Embu. Hiyo ndio sababu tunahitaji ujulikane wewe ni mkulima wa wapi, ID yako ni gani, ndio mtu achukue hiyo yako, hiyo mifuko yako. Ama matapeli waje wachukue wale wa maeka 1,000. Sasa kwa mmoja ambaye ni wa maelfu alikuwa ameitana press conference, anasema bilioni tu tunapatia mkulima mbolea kidogo. Hapana, hiyo mbolea itoshi. Kwa nini apewe 20 peke yake? Kwa nini apewe 10? Mkulima wa kawaida ako na eka ngapi ya kulima zaidi ya 20? Hii mpango ya serikali si ya kusaidia yule aiko na eka 1,000 Taita Taveta ama kwingine. Hii ni ya kusaidia wakulima hao wa kawaida. Kwani hapa Embu mko na eka ngapi pa farmer? Kamoja, kambili, tatu.
Zalendo,
Yeah,
there is something I
yes.
just want you to draw from that. Apart from there's something so interesting. If you listen to the words of Monya and the words of the current regime, they are same things.
So I told you, these guys were cut from the same cloth. Whatever Ruto is doing is what they used to do. It
I'm
was in the
surprised. I
government.
never heard that. Even the registration of farmers is the same thing.
It's the same thing. That's what I've been telling you, that these guys there's nothing different that they are doing. Nothing completely different. It's only that the organization probably during Munya's time, there was no politics because Raila was on the other side. You understand? So there was a lot of kelele, and Ruto could not complain about the government because he was in the same government. Trying to plan all these things. These things are planned at cabinet level, and he was a member of that cabinet. So some of these things, when we try to compare the same, it doesn't make sense because he was in that government of the day. But I would like to answer what I saw a question from Goodyear about the internet.
Proceed.
About the internet. That was a very good question, Goodyear. I'm just looking at it right now. Goodyear, how is the digital going to work in the inner village? You see, the digital. This is how it is. There are various NGOs already having digital hubs in most villages, and this is what you need to know. If I want internet in my village, and I know that there are no fiber cables in my village, I buy the modem from Safaricom, go with it in my village, and within that particular radius where I will be, people there will be able to access that internet, so long as they have my password. They can access that internet within that radius vicinity. So the kind of internet that the government is offering internet not for the whole village, but for the people who are going to go to a particular building or an internet hub and get and find computers there and be able to access internet in that particular facility. That is what the government is doing. I hope I answered your question. People inspire.
And maybe some people, yes.
People are, what is inspire women? Inspire women today. You are on my case. People contributing to the housing levy and they won't be able to pay the house deposit. How do they benefit from their contribution? You are contributing towards these houses so that you can raise that deposit. You are contributing towards these houses so that eventually you'll be able. It's like a savings. Where if you take a life insurance, for example, you are contributing money towards a scheme, hoping that when you die one day, your family is going to get that money. This money is not there for you, but it is there for the future. Whatever you are contributing for the housing is going towards your deposit for that particular house. You can contribute so much within, or you can contribute. You can be lucky that on the first day you are able to raise the deposit. Yeah, the first day you are able to raise the deposit. Does that give you the house immediately? No, these houses are not yet constructed, and the government is trying to build funds so that they construct these houses. So within a period of time, you'll be able to get your house in return, because if you contribute for 2 years or 10 or 3 years, you will be able to have raised that deposit and get into a house, because these houses are not going to be constructed in a day. They're not going to be constructed in 2 months. They're going to be constructed within a period of time. And again, they are constructed annually. So that kitty, that's why why Ruto's government is trying to make it a law so that that kitty each and every time it has money to construct houses. Eventually, you'll get a house if you really are dedicated or want to get property or want to get somewhere to live. So I will know I am pro those who want those houses. I am against those who have got negative sentiments about those houses. It is a need, it is a necessity, it is something that will benefit you, or even if it doesn't benefit you right now, it will benefit your children. Inspire women. That thing will benefit your children in forms of property. All right. This you have already paid a deposit for it. You can rent it out. You can rent it out for so much, 30,000, 40,000. Go back to your village, earn that as an income, and still pay whatever mortgage that the government has put out there. I hope that answers your questions too.
On the same note, some people are also asking, here is a situation whereby, there is job insecurity in this country. There are people who are they're informal payment in some contract with Waindi or whatever, whereby you find that somebody maybe works for some maybe 5 or 4 years, then kazi imeisha, this person resorts to go back to the village. They already made some deduction or some contribution in form of deduction, and as a matter of fact, from your deduction, most hustlers, most people who cannot afford to build houses on their own, their deduction for even 3 years cannot be enough to serve as a deposit. So what happened to their money? Because this somebody, if it is 2% of the salary, these are people who will be paying a maximum of like 1,500 per month. So for them to raise it to have that deposit of 500,000, it will take like 5-6 years.
What?
So what happens to their contribution? Kazi imeisha.
Yeah, I think that has been addressed. Kazi imeisha. That does not mean that you stop living or stop eating.
Yeah.
Kazi ikiisha, it doesn't mean that you don't need a house or a roof on top of you. Kazi ikiisha doesn't mean that you stop paying fees for your children or they go home. Kazi yako ikiisha leo, ule mtoto wako ataenda shule ama atarudi na wewe nyumbani, ama utaanza kutafuta kazi ingine ama umshughulikie vile ataenda shule.
That is, those are concerns that maybe another great one. Majority of the people who are going to contribute for this Zalendo, because it is mandatory, there are people with pay slips. There are people who maybe most of them will not need those kind of houses. So will they get their money back, and after how long? Because they don't want to get those houses. They build their houses, but it is mandatory. They have to pay for it.
I think after 7 years, the PS Clay said that you'll get your money back in full, because that money the government is trading with it, and you'll not only get it back, you'll get it back with interest. That is it has
So
accrued.
this is another forced savings, like social security, like NSSF.
It is a forced. It's kind of a forced saving. If it goes into law, it is mandatory. It becomes part of our law that you have to be ready to construct houses for anybody else, and that is what is done in developed countries. That is what is done. There is nothing like Ruto is. Let me tell you, you want good hospitals, you want good roads, but you don't want to pay for it. You want government to do it for you. Kenya,
No, those people who want should pay for it. If you want a good house, you have to pay for it. But we are talking of the people who don't want.
Let me ask you: do you need? How do you pay for your security?
Sorry.
Security. Just if what the government wants to guarantee you that leo ukitoka nyumbani uende job urudi home usiku, you are not going to be attacked by thugs or being killed. How do you pay for that?
I think security, that's the role of the national government to ensure that you are safe.
How does the government?
So if you need extra security, then you'll have to get some private security.
Do you have to? Get some private security to ensure that
Yes.
you are safe back at home. And again, you'll have to employ a watchman to guard you 24/7 to ensure
Yeah.
that nobody raids your home. Now, this government is telling you you don't need to pay all that kind of. You don't need to pay heavy mortgages to get a house. Here's an opportunity for you to raise some money and get a house. You don't need to raise 2 million for land to buy your own house. Here is some opportunity because you can't raise that to me 2 million. Here is some opportunity to start saving 1,000 bob to get a house in 4 years uko na nyumba, or 2 years depending on how much you can raise. So again, the only bad policy maybe in quotes is that it is mandatory, but by and large the issue of housing is a need. It's something that we need, but we're only talking about houses. These houses come with infrastructure like water, inakuja na vitu kama maji in that particular locality. Some of them come with schools, some of them come with playground, unless you don't need a playground for your children because they already don't even have a playground where they stay. Ukienda places like Dandora, the playgrounds that used to be there are no longer there. Same to Moja, they have been grabbed. Right now, the government is trying to claim some of this grabbed land. But again, housing is a necessity. Leo, this was informed by data, and it was informed since the founding father of this nation, one Jomo Kenyatta. I have said it in this channel time and time again for those who are listening, that those houses you see in California, they were built by the late Tom Boyer. That's his legacy. If you go to California today, the old people will tell you that these houses, they have to pay some money so that they can possess them, but they are paying to date. They have never stopped paying. Houses in Jericho, they are built by the government, social housing, but they are still paying up to date. They are paying up to date from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation. But this is the difference. This is the difference. This is a house that you are told to pay, but after paying, you own it. You are given a title deed. So which one is better? The one that you pay, your children, grandchildren will pay for a lifetime, or the one that you own, that you don't even have a title for it? So they are talking about social housing, ati government watupatie manyumba tulipe kidogo kidogo kama hizo za Jericho na nini. But you see, these are houses that eventually whatever you pay for them is triple what the government of Ruto is asking for. So it's Kenyans, we are not very much informed when it comes to the issue of housing. We don't get it. We don't get it. And unless you have bought land or built a house in Nairobi is when you'll know the cost of housing. But most people who are shouting very loud are the politicians. Why the politicians are shouting? Today, Leo, let me tell you why the politicians are shouting. The politicians are shouting today because first, they need those contracts. They will immediately they are given those contracts. One or two of them are given those contracts to supply. The noise will go down. Hii kazi iko na biashara mingi, biashara ya chuma, biashara ya mchanga, biashara ya nini, biashara ya kuchora. Hizi zote ni kazi and ni millions, billions of money is out there. Billions. That money will transform some people's lives. So you can imagine you are owning a hardware in the rural area, and the government has earmarked your hardware and your mali watatoa hizi material. So tell me, pesa ngapi huyo jamaa wa hardware ataenda nayo nyumbani? Tell me how many people we will employ in order to meet the demand ya load simiti ya serikali, he'll have to employ a lot of people at each and every given time. Kama ni chuma inatakikana, that is enough supply for mabati rolling mills kuandika, enough opportunity for mabati rolling mills kuandika watu kazi kwa hizo industry. So kama the lady who was asking mambo ya kazi zitatokea kwa njia hiyo during and once it's made law, the next government bado itajenga hizo manyumba zikiendelea.
Next government is not having a goodwill, or somebody saying the problem is not the housing, it's what happens once you have paid it off, or something happens to you before finishing the pay, e.g. you die, will it be passed to a family member, such kind of things.
Good year. Sijui nakupatia example, if you buy a car between you and the bank, umenunua gari na kati ya wewe na bank, the bank has given you a loan to buy a car. I'm talking about the instance in Kenya. The bank has given you a loan to buy a particular car, and then unfortunately you die, and the car was insured na kazi yako. You are working with a company that gives you car loans and all that. Then you die, here you are, umekufa, gari ndio hiyo iko kwa jina yako na nini. What really happens is that there is always, in those forms that you sign, there's always a next of kin. In case something happens to you, who is going to take over this responsibility? That's why kuna hiyo form ya next of kin, unaandika watu wale wanaweza chukua that responsibility after you die. You must have somebody like that ule atachukua the responsibility after you die. And don't ask me if you don't have a next of kin. So that is something that is done in any contract that you've come across. And you also realize that even if watoto wako wabaki na hiyo nyumba, they will still continue paying for it, and luckily they will have somewhere to live even after you are gone. That is the beauty about these houses.
I get you. It will be unfair to end maybe this stream without just congratulating the Manchester fans for doing what wasn't expected. As I also welcome Pen Nyagaka. It's been a long time before without us seeing him. So Pen, kindly, if you can join, even if you're not going to say a word, just join and leave me your contact on the private chat over there. Sometimes you get lost na kukupata ni ngumu sana. Weka namba yako
Ako Kisii. Pen ako Kisii bwana. Ako Kisii anakunywa ile inaitwa orierong something like that.
Sasa kama uko Kisii, mwambie atume ndizi. Aweke ndizi pale kwa gari
inaitwa ekirandi.
Ukishamaliza kunywa kirandi, tuma ndizi basi.
Kirandi ni maziwa ingine, ni kama maziwa imeoza.
No, that is like, it is a amorsik. Or maziwa mala, or what you call in your mother tongue. Is it a dila in Luo? I don't know the name.
Imekuwa over mala.
Oh.
It's beyond mala bwana, inaitwa ikirandi. Amerudi. Pena amekuja hapa.
Mzee wa ikirandi ndio amekuja. Pen, long time. Tuambie what is happening in Kisii. How far as the government fulfilled the promises that were given to the people of the great counties of Nyamira and the Kisii County, apart from impeaching the deputy governor? What else is happening there? Na kwanza hii mambo ya impeaching the deputy governor inafaa utuambie. We saw it for the first time. Mumeleta zile issues za familia to the national arena. A big old mzee anakuja kulialia pale kwa Senate. It was really shameful, if I have to say. So Pen, karibu. Kugonga sana.
Asante sana Leo, asante sana Mzalendo. Na Mzalendo, niliambiwa mali fulani the Mzalendo thinks very shallow. Nasema Mzalendo is my man. He thinks like me. I say no wonder. So Mzalendo, I was defending you nikacharajwa. Lakini what Leo you are asking is very childish politics ambayo inaendelea huko Kisii. Now, everybody knows that everywhere in Kenya, the corruption was transferred to the counties. Na huku Kisii, huyu Sibarati is just as corrupt as the governor himself. So, kile wamefanya is okay. So we don't have a problem with that. Nani huyu alikuwa anafanya vitu mbaya, huyu nani Daktari Monda is a veterinarian. Ni kutoka kwangu. That's where I come from. Lakini it was at that game of winning elections, hiyo tu, na win na walikuwa wanajuana vile wanafanya. So when he differed with Arati, so Arati exposed him, and we have seen what has happened. But let us be very, very clear that this government right now, leo najua mimi nilikuwa na support kabisa, lakini sasa I will not. Even they kicked me out of Uda Nyasa about when I went to talk bad about the PS Omoro. You stop anywhere, the police are asking for money. You stop everywhere, ukikaa kwa jioni hiyo nani Mzalendo anasema Kerandi, they will talk very negative about you. Hey, they will talk very negative about you and about the police and what they are doing. So it is not something that is very, very wonderful. Natusumbua sana for a long time. Lakini, so coming to Kenya for me has really helped me to see things that are never so. Things that are never. Unajua ukikaa America sana, it is very inakukava. It covers you a lot of things. Unajua unaingia kwa system rio na system ndio inaendesha everything. Lakini hapa you try to get into what this system is doing. It is very, very, very bad. Mzalendo, unajua sisi tunapendana sana kwa hii kupatia huyu Ruto, all the leeway anataka. Lakini kwanza kabisa mimi leo wacha nikwambie, the bottom of economics would not work at all with the corruption being so high. If the corruption was lower, then the bottom of economics will work. Such as Europe after the Second World War, now Southeast and Asian countries, they like in China, if you are caught with something, you are killed. That's where you kill corruption completely so that you can develop the whole society. Some of us, we grew up in a system that was very, very, very negative. Like Kenyatta's thievery, Moi, anybody who worked under Moi system was stealing from somebody, Mzalendo Najua. And, seeing this is a government that I'm really interested in real life and doing what they are doing, it is very, very disappointing. And I'm on my way back to the States. I might have to end up going to New York, but meaning DC when the president comes there in May. But they have to tell him the truth, because we know, some of us are older than him. We know that if you really want to develop the society, you have to do away with the corruption as we know it. Because Hii askari wanachukua pesa ya mtu bure for nothing. Is not working for it or nothing. You know. Ngoja nimwambie hadithi moja alafu nitoke, sitaki kuzungumza sana. Mzee wangu alikuwa hai na tukaenda mzalendo huko Houston, kurudi ndugu yangu alikuwa anaendesha gari akasababishwa na polisi. Sasa mzee akasema, ile pesa ulinipatia wote niwapatie. So I called the police over and I told him the whole story. Akacheka mpaka kararua hiyo tiketi akasema, mwende musi, don't overspeed again. When I told the guy that my daddy want to give you the money so that he can buy you time. Na hiyo iliwachekesha sana. If we can get to that level, or at least come down to something. So the police wanatembea usiku mchana, they are looking for money. So it is very disappointing. Lakini leo vile unauliza, what they are doing in Kisii is everywhere in the country. You know, you saw what happened in Isiaya. You could see it everywhere. It is the corruption was involved into the counties. Wacha nisema hivi. Lakini kuja hapa nyumbani mzalendo has opened my eyes. Vile singejua. I would have been supporting Ruto primarily vile nilikuwa na support. Lakini sasa kuona on the ground what they are doing. Now ukienda any office, you have to pay something so that you get something. That's what we did before. We thought that now some of us are adults, so that we are supporting a system that will really do something to change everything. But you know, the people are hustling. The people are doing everything. Wanauza mandizi, wanauza matoke, wanauza, you know, people are doing what they are doing. But it is the leadership that is a total failure. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Mzalendo.
Thank you for those remarks. I am glad that you've changed your mind. That is what a bright person does. When you see something not working, then you make an about turn. I echo some of your statements that corruption is something that we need to deal with. The only thing that we don't have a formula for dealing with corruption in Africa. The laws support the people who are corrupt, and we individually we are corrupt in our nature. So you will find that when you have traveled in Kisii for more than a month, many times you've been stopped by the police in your car, and if you are being driven by your uncle or by somebody else, they are so comfortable of giving a bribe. That is not the president doing that, but that is a personal choice. A personal choice. If you decide to corrupt a policeman, that's a personal choice because society has become corrupt and corruptible. Yeah, so that is where we are as a country. Now, corruption, in my view, should be made and taught as a subject in schools. Because that is the only way we are going to be able to fight it effectively. Children coming out of youths coming out of high school or university find their way into corruption. Parents are a problem. You find a parent criticizing William Ruto today, but during the KCSE exams, they are the first one to look for exam papers for their children. Yeah, wanawanunulia exam ndio wapite mtihani. That is, they don't look at it as corruption then, but that is what they do. Parents at that level, teachers who are supposed to be impacting knowledge in schools are corrupt in when it comes to marking of papers, when it comes to exam cheating. So this thing is ingrained into the system. Forget even about the presidency. Everybody from the village janitor to up there, they are all corrupt.
Let me add something about Mzalendo. It is the leadership to give a direction. At least say crack up. You know, give direction. Come on, watoto. You know you have a family. You give the direction. Now what village you say. But there's nobody giving that direction. You know, Mesema, it is everywhere. But this guy is already interested in bringing right closer so that they can tend to hear you. So that there is no vibrant of position or giving direction. Useme kama Nairobi, the streets were developed where you grew up in Nairobi. The street was set in 70s and before, but this is what we are driving at right now. The traffic is so high. And what is he doing? So that if we really even let us stop corruption, lakini huyu about the president has to give a direction. Huyu tu unaona huko Singapore wamerudisha ile mzee ambao developed that country the way it is. He had it where you clock in, clock out. Lakini sasa is 90 something and they brought him back to government. So maana mzalendo ni kwamba we have to give a direction. From the president got to give a direction. Some of us supported him fully. But when he's doing what he's doing, you cannot support it. Thank you.
I agree with you, Pen. I agree. Every little statement you've made, I have agreed. We are going to change the system, and we will change it through the ballot. That is why we are having this conversation each and every day. We want more people to come and participate in election, people who are clean, people who want to be like Pen Nyagaka. Pen Nyagaka jump into the political arena so that the people can elect you. But now it needs to us to start a lot of civic education of our people so that they know the right leaders to elect. So don't tire, keep on coming to the conversation. So when the conversation, when we talk about these things more and more, it is when it's how it becomes our culture. So for those people who are criticizing Mzalendo huko mbele, I have said it before. I'm like the tallest tree in the forest. So the tallest tree in the forest always stands tall. The others are, and they can never be swayed by the wind. There are things that I believe in, that this government is doing that is right, and there are things that other people believe that they are doing wrong. There are things that I think that they are doing wrong, and I talk about them each and every time. But by and large, I think that we are in the right direction. At one point, Kenya had a dictator. Some people felt it was good. Some people came up and said, "Oh no, it is time to change a dictator called Moi," and we changed Moi and got Kibaki. Then Kibaki came. We changed Kibaki. Then we got Uhuru's leadership. Now after Uhuru, now we are talking about other things. When we were changing Moi, we were changing on issues of the constitution and multi-party politics and development. So when Uhuru came in, we are talking about development infrastructure. That was what we were pushing during Moi's time, and that was achieved by Uhuru, infrastructure development. Did he fight anything called corruption? No, he didn't. Now the next leader, who is William Ruto, is not on a corruption agenda, but again, is he doing anything to develop the country? Yes, he's doing and continuing on the healthcare, infrastructure development, and education. Now, hopefully, our next president will be the one that is able to go and stamp his authority on issues of corruption and put up an institution that is corruption free. If we are going to achieve that, then Kenya will achieve again development the way Singapore is doing.
Mzalendo.
Yes.
I will tell you that I fully acknowledge what you are saying. What Ruto is doing, especially opening up markets and mali watu wanauza mandizi, they're opening up the coolers for the milk. All these things, we see them. It is very true. It is doing something. But to see a wasted energy of young generation instead of involving it to do something especially the road to Kenoko Shago. You know, like for us, we beat out through my Mahi, Susua, and all this. And the roads are terrible. Not that they could get to where me and Musalendo we stay. No, at least give a direction as to go on that way. You know, some of us really will have to end up in politics one way or the other because of that. Corruption, we have to end up there one way or the other. But even if we make the noise and lose the elections, that's not the end of the world. The world is set up to where you can enjoy life without being really in politics. Mzalendo umeona kama huyu Michelle Obama, people are forcing her to go to politics. Amekataa kabisa. So it is getting there. It's being happy without being in politics. But in Kenya, you have to be in politics to be happy. So we have to change all that. But yangu Mzalendo ni kusema kwamba let us at least talk the direction of killing them. When I was supporting the bottom up economics, Leo, bottom up economics, ni kile kitu ambao that is what developed the Southeastern countries. That's what developed Europe after the Second World War. But all that has to do away with corruption. So that if this president is serious about bottom-up economics, he has to be serious with doing away with corruption. You too. And if you do away with corruption itself, a lot of other sources of income will have to develop. Thank you very much, Elio. Thank you very much, Mr.